Hello and welcome to my craft room. I'm Antony Minnis. FMM have been in contact with me and asked if I would do a tutorial for you guys to follow at home. So that's exactly what I've done, using some of their brilliant products that are available direct from their website. So what I've come up with is a little plaque using some of their cutters. So the cutters in this particular project are the rose leaf cutter, the easy rose cutter, and an alphabet there as well. Now obviously I've put the words love, forever, dream, always and believe, but it's entirely up to you to personalise it however you wish. So I hope you can join me going through this tutorial with you step by step. Now if you're interested in buying the products direct from FMM, just go to their website, which is www.fmmfuncraft.com. Well, without further ado, let's get crafting. Well, you've seen the actual project. Now I'm going to show you how I actually created it. So all of the main products in this demonstration are from FMM Fun Crafts. Now FMM have been around for 75 years. So they do lots of different things. Mainly it's cake decorating, but there's also their craft side as well. Hence the FMM Fun Crafts. I'm going to be using two different types of clay. We have the soft then strong. This is a fantastic clay. Really love this one. It's an air drying polymer clay. So we're going to be using that one with some molds. And this one here is the really important one. It's the bright and light air drying clay. So again, no kiln or ovens required to actually set this clay. And what we're going to be using this one for is to actually create the flowers. So without further ado, let's get into making some of those roses that you saw on that project. Now the most important thing where it comes to air drying clay is to make sure that once your pack is actually open, you keep it in one of these sort of things, which is a Ziploc airtight bag. That's really important. Otherwise, because it's air drying, the clay will actually dry. So just make sure that once you open the pack, to pop it inside there. So let's just take some clay out. Now what we're going to be doing to start with is creating some of the beautiful roses that you saw on the project. So just take some of the clay out of the bag. Now this is really quite a dry clay compared to other clays that I've actually used, but it's absolutely ideal for making the flowers. So what I'm just quickly going to do is I'm just going to use a rolling pin, okay, a nylon rolling pin. I'm just going to roll some of the clay out, just quite roughly, just to start with. We're going to be using the medium cutter. So the reason I'm doing this just really quickly is so we don't mix up too much clay. So at the moment I'm not too concerned about actually keeping the shapes that I cut. I just want to know that I'm just going to mix up near enough the right amount of clay. Okay, so let's just pop that one. Okay, right. So we can see we have two there. That's what we're going to be needing in total. And I'm just going to add a little bit more extra. Right, so pop the clay back inside your bag. So this is the bright and light clay we're using. So pop it back inside your Ziploc bag, and there we go, just pop that aside. Right, we're going to be using the dense foam mat there to actually add some shape to the petals, but let's just pop that aside for the moment. Right, so we're going to want to colour. We're going to go with two distressed colours here. We're going to go for Festive Berries and Abandoned Coral as well. So just pop some of that onto your mat. So that's going to give you a nice mix of colours. Obviously you can be using whatever colours you like for your project. So just mop that up, and you can see the clay will then take on the colour of the Distress Oxide. Okay. Now, other things you can be using, apart from Distress Oxides, you can be using acrylic paints as well. So there's a nice array of different mediums that you can be popping into there. If you have the Ecoline pens, then again, they're water-based, so you can be using those to colour as well. So just keep on building up the colour until you're happy with what you want. So like I say, just keep on mopping that up, and then just literally just folding the colour into the clay until you are happy. So I'm just going to continue to do that. just mop that one up like so, and just keep on going. Now obviously, because as I said to you, this clay is quite a dry clay, as we're now adding some moisture into there using the distress oxides or what other medium you're going to be using, then obviously you're going to be adding some moisture back into the clay. So once it's actually done, you will need to just let it dry out just a little bit, but again, not too long. Okay, so just keep on mixing those colours into your clay until you're happy with what you have. Now obviously we've got some leaves as well, and the leaves that we're going to be colouring a little bit later on, we're going to be using some acrylic paints to do that. So I'm just going to show you how you could be doing that. Right, okay, I think we're just going to add a little bit more of the festive berries just to make that colour a little bit deeper, but like I say, it's entirely up to you. Okay, and the other colour we're going to be going for is cream roses in this project, and the colour that I've used for that one is the let's just grab that from up here, and that one is the Vintage Photo. So that's the one where I've actually used to create the cream colour roses that are also within this project. Okay, right, we're near enough done, and that's the sort of the colour that I'm going to be wanting for this particular project. Okay, right, and like I say, just knead that in until you've got a real good consistency of colour. Okay, right, so let's just pop the colours aside for the moment. Another really important thing is just to make sure that the surface here is clean and also dry. You can, if you want, just add a little bit of corn flour to the surface. That's just going to help stop the clay from actually sticking. Okay, like so. So let's just roll this out. Now, what it actually recommends on the instructions is that you roll this out to about 1 millimeter thick. Now, there is a way of doing that quite easily. Okay, when you get yourself one of these nylon rollers, you'll see these rings that come with it. There's two different thicknesses, depending which one you actually get, but majority of the time you'll see that one is about 1.5 millimeters, and the other one you get on there is between about 2.5 millimeters. Now I go for about 1 millimeter, so it's neither of those. Now don't worry, you know, you can be using the thinner ones, but what I actually do, I actually have some 1 millimeter card. Okay, so I just place that either side of my clay, and then I know that what's rolled out in between it is going to be about 1 millimeter thick. So I'm just going to roll that one out. Okay, now this is the cutter, like I say, this is the medium one. Okay, so just roll that out and just keep on going back and forth until it's really nice. Very soft, and just keep on lifting it just to make sure it is going to come off there. Okay, and as you can see, that is our 1 millimeter thick piece of clay. So we're just going to use the medium cutter. We're just going to press all the way around there. Okay, like so, and just lift that off, and then just pull off the excess clay. We're going to be using one of the tools from FMM. These are great tools. You get 5 in there, all different tools. So that is one piece. We're just going to pop that aside for the moment. So we're going to cut both at the same time. Okay, so just roll that one out. Okay, now obviously if there is any leftover coloured clay, then just pop that inside of your air dry bag. Okay, just keep on lifting it off, just turning around. We just want to make sure we have enough clay just for this cutter. There we go. Maybe if this one has got 3 that we can cut out of it, we will do. So just keep on going there, like so. Okay, and then just lift that up, pull away the clay, and that is our second piece. Now to make a rose, you can make a smallish rose from one piece, and a medium rose from about 2, or you can make a really large rose using 3 of these shapes. I think we're actually going to go for 3 purely because we've actually got them. So like I say, this is how you actually make the rose. Okay, so just keep on rolling, keep on lifting it just to make sure it's not going to stick. You can flip it if you wish. Okay, we're near enough there using our 1mm card, just so we know that it's near enough 1mm. We're actually rolling that clay out too. And again, we're just going to pop that one on and just press that down. Okay. And just pop that back like so. Okay, so with the clay we have left over there, we're just going to roll that one up. Okay, you can pop it inside some cellophane if you wish, or just pop it inside your bag. I'd recommend that if you know you're not going to use it, to actually put it in some cling film. Right, okay, here we go. So we're just going to pop this one up here. Don't worry too much if it loses a little bit of its shape on some of the petals. It doesn't matter. Okay, so we just got now 3 of the shapes there, and the next stage is we're actually going to roll them out. Right, we have our 3 cut shapes here. Now we're going to be using the ball tool that also comes in the same set as the other tool that we used a little bit earlier. So that's the FMM 5-piece tool set there. So what you're going to want to do is use your foam mat. I work diagonally across this because obviously that gives us then the maximum amount of space to work with. So using your ball tool, go from about the centre of the petal, rolling the tool outwards. Okay, you just want to go beyond the actual size or the shape of the clay, to give that sort of like fanned effect. Now you can also see by doing that, okay, you're also sort of like giving it a little bit of shape in there as well to make those petals. Okay, so it's up to you. There's 2 different ends to this tool. You've got the small ball tool and the large ball tool. Entirely up to you which one you want to go with. Okay, so just go all the way round, and as you can see, we are making those petals actually larger. So just go all the way around, and it's a case of just pressing from the centre of the flower and going beyond the actual size of the piece of clay or the petal there. So go all the way. You can keep on going back over the petals just to make them a little bit more uneven, because you don't want it to be exactly perfect petals on every single one. You want to make sure they're all different sizes, just exactly the same as it would be in nature. Right, once you have one, okay, we're just going to pull that one up very, very carefully. You can see now you have all those beautiful petals. Right, the next thing is to actually just flip that over and then fold it in half. Okay, so it's like so, and then just press down just on the edge that you actually folded. Okay, now I use the pointy part of this tool to actually then start to roll. Okay, so just pop that on there and just start to roll the whole load of clay actually around that. Once you've gone around about once, okay, which is about that, then you can just lift that up and then you can start to roll. Okay, don't roll too tightly, leave it fairly loose. Okay, so like so. So that's the sort of consistency of roll you actually want. So not too tight. Okay, it's going to give you that sort of effect. Okay, we're just going to pop that one to the side, and we're just going to do exactly the same to the other 2. So like I say, if you want a smallish rose, maybe you just want a bud, then just go for the 1. If you want a sort of medium-sized rose, then go for 2 of the shapes that we're rolling out at the moment. If you want sort of like a larger rose, it's got lots and lots of petals, then go for 3. But it's entirely up to you. You know, maybe you want an even larger rose, maybe you want to go for 4. Entirely up to you. Now, FMM actually do 3 different size cutters. Like I say, for this particular rose that I'm making at the moment, we are using the medium size one, but you've also got the smaller and the larger one as well. Right, so just go all the way around like so. Okay, and you can see how quick and how easy this is. So that's our second one. So again, just using this tool just to flip that up. Now, if at any point, okay, that you pull this up and maybe a petal has got stuck to the red mat, then don't worry. All you need to do is just basically screw the clay back up into a ball and then just roll it out again. So there's never any waste. Okay, so again, just fold that one over like so, and then just press down on the edge that you folded. Now you want to bring back in your original one, okay, and this is where you just want to join it. Okay, so you can see where you've got the two end petals. Okay, you just want to join the first one just slightly overlapping, okay, like so, and then just pop that back on your mat and just roll all of the way around. Okay, so now you can see it's actually starting to look much more like a rose. So again, just pop that one aside. We're just going to go for the third one now. Okay, and using the large ball tool, okay, we're just going to roll that out from the center of the petal. Okay, like so, and it doesn't take any time whatsoever. Okay, now what you will need is, well, I use just one of these, which is just basically a washi tape, okay, but it's something to actually pop the rose in, and I'll explain that in a second. But if you've got something like that, or maybe you've got an egg container, that's going to do as well. So just to rest the actual rose in when you're actually working with it on the next step. So just keep on rolling that out. Okay, and like I say, if you wanted more for the frilliness to your petals, then maybe you could have used the smaller ball tool on the other end there. But I'm going to be happy with this one. Okay, so you really want to pop a lot of pressure on, but like I say, when you're actually rolling this ball tool, you're not pulling it, you're actually rolling the tool. Okay, that's really, really important. If you drag it, then the tendency is you're actually going to tear the clay. So just using our other tool here, okay, just pop that one up, pull that up, and again just fold that over. Okay, so where you fold it, you then just press down just to make sure it actually sticks. Okay, and then get your piece that's already got two of these wound round. So let's just show again where you want to join these. So here are the two end pieces, so you just want to go just slightly overlap on the first one like so, and then you can start to roll around. Okay, so if we actually look at that at the moment, you'll see it sort of looks like a rose, apart from at the moment it's a bit like a barrel. Okay, so what we're going to do is just very, very gently just squeeze, and I do mean very gently, just start to squeeze, but go all the way around. You can see I'm rotating that, and I am also applying a little bit of pressure. So just keep on going all the way around. Don't squeeze too much too soon, because it will completely distort the shape of your finished rose. Okay, so just keep on going around, just applying a little bit of pressure whilst you're spinning that. And as you can see now, it's starting to look like sort of like a wine glass shape. Okay, and once you've got to that, then just using your fingers, okay, just apply a little bit of pressure, and I'm spinning the rose as we go. You can see it's like getting the neck of that glass there, and it's also giving us more of a rose shape. Okay, so just keep on going until you get to about that point, and then you can just twist that round, and there we go. There is our beautiful rose shape. So we're just going to pop that in the hole there on our mat just to hold it up. And the clay you have here, just pop that back into your airtight bag. So we're just going to mix that back in with the clay that we already mixed a little bit earlier. Pop that into there, and just make sure you've got as much air out of that. Right, so this is where our little piece of tape comes in. So we're going to pop that into there, okay, and we're just going to hold that, okay, and then we can just go around and using the sort of the knife part of the tool, we just want to start separating those petals out. So you can go quite deep actually into there, okay, and just start to literally edge out those. I'm just going to take it out of here for the moment, okay. We're just going to keep on just very, very carefully, and you can use your fingers to a certain extent as well, and you just want to separate out some of those petals just to make it look as though it's alive, okay. The rose bud is no longer a bud, it's more of a flower, so it's all opened up, okay. So just keep on going around there, like I say, pop the tool quite deep into the folds, okay, and then just keep on just working your way around, seeing which petals you want to just pull out a little bit. Obviously the ones in the center you can leave more than the ones on the outer edge, so just keep on going back round, keep on twisting the rose round, okay, there we go. And this tool, it really does work extremely well for this particular method of just separating out some of those petals. Okay, so once you're actually happy with that, then you can actually place it back inside your little holder, and like I say, I'm just using a washi tape, okay, so just keep on, okay, maybe I'm a bit over the top when I do these roses but you know, they really are nice and easy to do, but it's just a case of making them look sort of like as natural as possible. I'm going to leave it at that, okay, so that is going to take about 24 hours to dry. So as I say, I just pop it inside there just so it just holds everything in place, okay, as you can see. And then I'm just going to leave that to dry for 24 hours. So make all of your roses in exactly the same way. You can then go back in, I'll show you that a little bit later, and we can just add a little bit more colour to the petals. But that's basically the basics of making a beautiful rose, really nice and easily, using the Easy Cutters roses from FMM. Right, as promised earlier, now we're going to colour some of the leaves, okay, we're going to be using. So we're going to use some of the light and bright clay yet again, okay. So probably about that much, okay, because I've already made the majority of the roses for this project. So again, pop it back inside the bag and then just squeeze as much air and just lock that in. Okay, right. Here we go then. So we're just going to be using some acrylic paint this time. This can be a little bit messy, but it's fun. Okay, just pop about that much into the clay and then just start kneading that in. You'll see it starts to get a little bit messy, but don't worry, if it's only your fingers, you can easily clean your fingers. Okay, right. Let's just mix some of that in there. Okay, and you can see how quick that starts to colour that. If you want it a little bit deeper, just add a little bit more colour. So I think we're just going to add a little bit more in there to the mix. Okay. If you want to make it darker, then obviously I'd go for some black, but just pop that inside there and then just fold it in. You know, yes, you're going to get a little bit on your fingers, but like I say, you can always clean them. Right, so let's just go for that. Now obviously, as I said, when we coloured the roses, because you're adding quite a lot of moisture inside the clay now, okay, it is probably just an idea just to let that dry a little bit. Okay, so we're just going to pop that aside. Okay, we're just going to roll that. Okay, you can flatten it out just a little bit. Okay, and we're just going to let that dry just for a few minutes, probably about 5 minutes, but when we come back, that's going to be dry enough to actually use with the cutters. Right, we have our piece of green clay. We have our 2 pieces of 1mm card. I'm just going to roll that out. Okay, so like so, just 1mm thickness. Okay, we're just going to now place it onto a piece of non-stick paper. This is actually an old peel-off sticker, believe it or not. Okay, so once all your peel-offs have gone, then this is what I actually use this for, so nothing ever goes to waste. These are the veiners, okay, from FMM, and in the pack, this is set 1. You're going to get 4 different shapes, so there are the 4 different shapes, okay, and each of them has, as you can see, just very, very slightly different types of veins on there, just to make your leaves look a little bit more realistic. Okay, so we're just going to pop that onto the clay. We're just going to press down like so. Okay, and then just peel that away, and you can just see there, can you just see that? That is, there we go, the impression of the leaf. So now we have a leaf with veins. So we're just going to use one of the cutters. There's 3 different sizes. These are the rose leaf cutters. Line it up so it the veins are like in the right position. Once you're happy, just press down like so. Okay, and then just take the cutter away and then just peel that back, and there we go. That is your rose. Okay, your rose leaf, all nicely cut and also veined as well. So just peel that just gently back from your non-stick piece of paper. Okay, now what I would recommend here is you grab yourself a piece of cardboard. I'm just going to use an old tool like this. Okay, let me just grab a piece of cardboard from under my desk. Okay, an old piece of card there. So I'm just going to lay my tool actually on there. Okay, and then I'm just going to lay the leaf over. So just bend it very, very slightly. Okay, and then just let it rest on there. So you can see it's going to not create a completely flat leaf. Maybe you do want some flat leaves as well, but that's the sort of shape that I want that one to set in. And again, just let that one dry for about 24 hours before we do anything else. Okay, so that's the leaves. Let me just quickly show you also how to create some of the letters that are also on the project. So let me just roll that clay up. We're just going to pop that back inside here. Okay, I'm just going to grab a little bit of the white clay. Now, admittedly, this hasn't got to be white clay in all fairness, because we're actually going to colour this black a little bit later on. But again, just so you can see for every single step, I'm just going to use a piece of white clay. Right, so again, make sure that that is not too sticky, which it's not, the surface. And again, I'm using our 2 bits of cardboard either side there. Just roll that out. We have our perfect 1mm thick clay. Now we're going to bring in these. These are the Art Deco alphabet set. And within this, you're going to get the entire alphabet, and you're also going to get numbers. Okay, so that is the 3 cutter sets you're going to get in that particular set. They're all uppercase. They're about 2 centimeters in height as well. Right, so to cut, okay, let's just pop that onto here. So put it onto your non-stick card. Okay. A really important thing here, just to make sure that your cutter is clear of any old bits of clay. So particularly in little areas like on the A or the B's there, where it's got little holes, sometimes you can forget and the clay's still in there. Okay, so literally you've got your clay onto your non-stick card here, and then literally you just pop your letter and just press that. Give it a little bit of a move around, just so you know it's cut. Okay, lift that up. Okay, and you'll see the letter is actually stuck in there. We don't want the B, so let's just take out the B part. Okay, and if they don't come out straight away, don't worry. Just tap Okay. Like so. And there we have, let me just pop that over there, our letter A. Okay, so again, just pop that onto a piece of card or onto kitchen cloth and let that dry. Right, we're just going to roll out one more letter. Okay, so we're just going to go using our two pieces of cards just there. Okay, we're just going to use some, let's have a look, some corn flour. Just tap any excess out. We're just going to use some corn flour. Okay, just in the actual cut there, just to help a little bit release the letter. Okay, we're just going to use our sheet of non-stick paper there, also known as our peel off. There's letter B. We're just going to cut that one into there, just give it a little bit of a wiggle. Okay, and then we're just going to pop that down, and there is our letter B. Okay, so you can just keep on going. Like I say, leave those two dry. Let's just do another quick one as well. Again, remember to take out all little bits inside the letters that are still in there. So I'm just going to roll this one out again. Okay, let's just go that way. Pop that onto our non-stick. I think we're going to go for the letter O this time, so just a little bit of corn flour. Whoops, let's just pop some corn flour in the letter O. Okay, just give that a little tap, and there's our letter O just there. So again, just press that, give it a little bit of a wiggle, take off all the clay that you don't need straight away, and then just, and there is the O. Okay, whoops, just pop that one round. Okay, there's the O. So just keep on going until you get all letters that you want in your particular project. Okay, that's all the letters done. Next, we're just going to show you how to use the soft then strong polymer clay. But in the meantime, I'm just going to have a little tidy up. Right, we have our roses, we have our leaves, and we have our letters. We're just going to add a couple of flourishes to the project as well. So we're going to use a Prima redesign mould. Okay, we're going to use these elements here. Now, what I'm going to be using for this one is not the bright and light clay, although you can, but I'm going to use soft then strong. Okay, so this is a polymer air drying clay. Okay, I just wanted to show how this is used. And now, because this is a polymer clay, okay, it is waterproof once it's actually dried. Okay, and yes, you can still make beautiful roses with it as well. Okay, and it does dry extremely strong. So maybe you want this for a piece of jewelry or something, then this is the type of clay that you're going to be wanting to use. So that's the soft then strong. So it comes to you in a silver bag, and then inside that there's cling film. Okay, and this is your clay. It is a little bit more sticky. Okay, and I'll be honest with you, I don't really think that you're going to be able to pop this into a mould and then drag it out, depending how dry it is, okay, in one fell swoop. So what I'm just going to do, I'm going to pop this into the mould, okay, like so. Don't worry about any of the clay on the top part. I normally tell people whenever they're using moulds to make sure you tuck all the clay back inside, but some of the Prima moulds in particular are rather detailed, and you'd probably give up halfway around trying to tuck the clay back inside. Now, like I say, because this is slightly more sticky than a lot of the other clays, okay, I just tend to leave this inside of the mould, okay, and let it just dry within that. Now, it does take about 24 to 72 hours to dry inside the mould, so just bear that in mind. But now I'm just using a large sort of like palette knife, okay, a plastic one, and I'm just going over the very top here, as you can see, of the mould, and I've just taken all of the clay off, or thereabouts all the clay, and then I'm just going to go back in there, okay, with my fingers, and just press out, just to make sure we've got all the detail in there. But you can see it has cleaned up all of the clay, the majority of the clay from the top part of that mould. Leave that to dry, but like I say, just make sure you press it in, just to make sure you get all the detail. If you want to, you can be using the other clay, like the clay that we've used to make the roses. Because this is air dry clay, and especially really important with the polymer air dry clay, pop it back inside your cling film, okay, like so, and really make sure that is very, very airtight. Pop it back inside its original packaging, and then pop that inside your Ziploc bag. Okay, so just open that one up and just pop that inside there, and again just press all that out. Right, so again just pop this one to the side. If you wanted to use the other clay, okay, you can do, and the way you do that is you just dust this out with the corn flour. You'd then pop your clay actually in there, and that would be the bright and light, and then you could literally just pop it out. But like I say, I want these to really, really last. Okay, so I have actually used the soft then strong. So like I say, leave that in the mould between 24 and 72 hours to actually set. Okay, so we're just going to pop that aside, and we're going to start to decorate the actual plaque. Right, we have our plaque. This is basically, it's a piece of wood I found in my garage. It's a piece of MDF, so I've just cut that to size. This could be a canvas board. It could be just some grey board that you have lying around. So that is my canvas. And just for those of you who want to know the sort of size we're talking here, we're talking 20 centimetres wide by 18 centimetres in height. And I've just gessoed that over. A lot of people don't use gesso where it comes to MDF, but I want to use a light colour blue on top of it. So I really want that colour to show through and not what's underneath. I'm actually using Viva Decor vintage look, and these are just chalky paints. Okay, so I've gone for a blue, I've gone for a darker blue, and then I've gone for a white. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to put the light blue on. Okay, and this is a really, really beautiful paint, so just going to go all the way over that just with a brush. Okay, and I'm not going to worry too much if some of the white actually shows through, because I'm going to sort of like put a cloudy type finish over the top. Okay, so let's just quickly just drag the colour all over there. If you want, you can be using a sponge to apply the colour, entirely up to you. And as you can see, I just apply it really, really, really quite randomly to start with, just so I've got the coverage that I want, and then I'll go back over just in one direction to smooth everything out. Okay, so that is the blue near enough done. Okay, I do love chalk paints. I love the matteness of them, and then they're not glossy, and that really then shows up your pieces on your project, I find. Right, so let's just then go in one direction like so. Now obviously, if you haven't got chalk paints, you could be using possibly emulsion paints. Okay, exactly the same sort of stuff that you'd use on your walls in your house, or maybe you've got some nice wallpaper. As long as it's not overly patterned, then you could be using that, or some rice papers, mulberry papers. You can really go to town. Entirely up to you how you want to decorate it. Maybe you even want to go for some distress inks, or even some alcohol inks. Try those and just have a play. If you're going to be doing that, then maybe you want to coat the top of the MDF with some yuppie paper. Like I say, entirely up to you what sort of look you want to achieve. Right, so that is our first coat. So that is our light blue. I'm just going to let that dry before we go on to the second set. So I'm just going to dry that and then we'll be back. Right, so the blue is dry. We're just going to add some white over top to like a cloudy type of effect. Okay, so this is again the chalk paint. Okay, this time I am actually going to use a sponge brush, okay, to actually apply this. But first of all, let's just take some of the paint. We're just going to pop it into the lid, okay, like so. Just going to add a little bit of water onto our sponge brush, okay, like so. And then we're literally just going to pounce that over the top there. Just add a little bit more of the white paint, okay. No particular science as to how much colour we need to put in at a time, but we just want, like, say, a sort of like a watery consistency, just so it's almost like clouds as such. Okay, so just dab that onto the top of the blue there. Okay, so just keep on going. So that's the sort of look that we want. So, and just like fade out around the edges. Still got some colour on there, a little bit more water. Like I said, we don't want it too solid colour. That's it, just like that. So just keep on going around. Okay, if you think you're running out of colour, just add a little bit more back into there. Okay, so just keep on going till you're happy with the sort of look of that. I think that's probably about it, I would say. Okay, just a little bit more up there. Okay, you can get carried away a little bit. Okay, that's going to do. I'm just going to pop that into the water along with my brush. Okay, pop the lid back on top of my white chalk paint. And then again, we're just going to let the white dry. Then we're going to go round the edge using the darker blue. Right, our clouds have now dried, so I'm just going to go around the edge using some of the darker blue chalk paint. Let's just give that a little bit of a shake. Let's see. Okay, this is probably going to be a little bit dark to start with, but we're not going to pop too much on at a time. So literally, okay, we're just going to build up the colour. We're applying that with a sponge brush. Okay, so just keep on going on. Like I said, don't do it all in one go because it will be a little bit too much. So just keep on dabbing, go all the way around all four sides. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And maybe just add a little bit more colour. As I said, you don't want to overdo it. Okay, so just keep on bringing in that colour, almost so it's like a real light graduation between the light blue and the clouds and the dark. So you don't want a really abrupt edge. So just keep on just pouncing your sponge brush just on there like so. Okay, so just go all the way around. Okay, I will continue to do this, and then when you come back it will all be done. Right, that's the base of my canvas finish. So I'm just going to put that aside for one moment, and we're just going to bring in this one here, which are all of the letters and the flourishes that we made using the Prima redesign mould. So all of these need to be painted black. So that's what I'm going to do. Then when I come back, I'm going to show you how to give them that sort of finish that makes them look almost like metal. So like I say, first of all, I'm just going to use some acrylic black paint, and I'm going to do these letters and these flourishes. Well, as you can see, I have painted all of the letters and the flourishes as well. So now we're going to paint them. I'm going to be using some paints from Cadence. These are water-based gilding paints, okay? But if you have things like gilding waxes, then that's going to work equally as well. Now I've actually gone for two different colours. I've gone for like an antique gold and an antique silver. I always put the gold on first. So we're going to use the dry brush technique. We're going to do this to the letters as well. So just a little bit, and I do mean that much, okay? And then we're just going to brush that on, so just a little bit on there, and we're just going to brush that just over some of the flourishes there. So like I say, it's not a case of it's accurate painting, it is the dry brush technique. Okay, so you're just going to want to be doing a little bit on your brush and then just lightly just brushing that on, and basically the paintbrush is going to find the high points or the low points if you put a little bit of pressure on there to get right down to the bottom parts of, in this case, the cast that we've made from the Prima redesign mould. So that is our first colour, okay, and now we're just going to go for the second colour. We're not going to really bother to clean the brush in between because we won't really need to. Like I say, this is the smallest amount of that one as well. Okay, so let's just pop that one out of the way, and then it is just a case of just a little bit of the silver. This is the antique silver, by the way, and it is just literally just brushing it on in a couple of places, possibly where the gold didn't quite hit. Okay, so just a little bit of the paint onto your brush and go all of the way around. So you're still, basically the aim is it's still to see some of the black undercoat, okay, and it's just going to give you that sort of illusion of maybe like wrought iron, that type of thing. So just keep on going round like so. Very little paint on your brush. As you can see, what I'm doing here, I'm just brushing a lot of it back onto the glass mat. Okay, and I think we're just about happy with that. There we go, that is one piece. So you can see from that to that, so there's two colours on there. There's like an antique gold and antique silver, and it really does bring them up beautifully. It just adds a little bit more interest. So where the letters are concerned, okay, we're just going to go for a little one here to start with. So we're just going to go from L. Okay, so literally just brush on. Okay, obviously these are a little bit more tricky to handle than the larger flourishes. Doesn't matter. Okay, so just onto there. So keep on twisting it round. Okay, and then just turn our brush over. We're going to go into the silver. Okay, so just a little bit of silver on there, just to highlight some of those bits, so you can still see, like I say, the undercoat there of the black. So let's just hold up one of those and one of those, and you can see just how much it transforms it, makes it a little bit more interesting. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the letters, and then we're going to place them and the flourishes on our canvas board. Right, I have painted all of the letters, the swirls. So now, before we actually put those onto the canvas, I'm just going to pop those aside one moment. I'm just going to show you how I'm going to further enhance both the rose and the leaf itself. Right, so these are all dry, and you can see all of the amazing, beautiful detail that is in the rose, but we can just add a little bit more. So if you can remember way back when we first started, we used the abandoned coral and we also used the festive berries. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to use one of the colours, which is the abandoned coral, and we're just going to take some up on the brush. Okay, then just dab that onto our mat because it's like a dry brush technique, and then we're just going to just very gently just go onto the petals. Okay, I'm not applying too much pressure, so the ink is only being taken up by basically the high points of each of those petals. Okay, so let's just keep on going round. Okay, and some underneath there as well. So like I say, just very gently, not applying too much pressure, Okay, just keep on going. So every time I pop the brush back on the pad, I'm always going back then onto my glass. Okay, so just keep on brushing. Okay, and you'll see the difference. It's just bringing out that detail. And of course, that detail was originally made by the ball tool when we were just shaping these those original leaves on the actual rose. There we go. I'm going to leave it at that. You can just see a little bit there of the beautiful tones that are then brought out using the paints. So there we go. That's the rose leaf itself. The next one, sorry, that was the rose. Now it's the rose leaf itself. Okay, so for this one, let me just quickly just dab that out of the way, so we don't want any pink going onto the leaves. Right, so we're just going to use a little bit of white, and I do mean a little bit. Okay, so again, we're just going to be using that dry brush technique. So literally, that would probably do us actually. Okay, and we're just going to brush into the very, very center of this leaf. Okay, so you can see, you can almost see like the green sort of like showing through. It's just a very, very, it's almost like a highlight on the leaf. Okay, and you can see there it's also bringing out the veining texture a little bit more so as well. Okay, so just go over there. I think we just add a little bit more white to that. Okay, so just grabbed it from the lid there, and we're just going to brush that in. Okay, so only do this once your leaves, your clay leaves, are dry. Okay, and then just sort of like brush it out so it's almost just going into, it's fading into the green. Okay, if that makes sense. Okay, right, there we go. Right, just let that one dry just a little bit. Well, actually beforehand, I'm just going to add a little bit of water. Okay, just a little bit of water. Okay, so we're just going to fade that out just a little bit more. Okay, like so. Okay, that's a little bit better. Right, now we're just going to go in with the same colour green that we actually used to colour the leaves. So let's just mop that bit out a little bit. Okay, so it was this colour green just here. So hopefully there's some still left. Okay, let's just, okay, that amount. Okay, and we need to darken it just a little bit. Okay, so we're literally just going to darken that probably by just, there we go, just putting the paintbrush into the nozzle. Okay, and so that's a darker colour green. Okay, so that's going to go on the edge of the leaves. Okay, and again, we don't want too much paint on here, so just grab yourself a cloth there, just wipe the brush on there, and then there we go. We're just gonna, there's that dry brushing technique yet again that we've used throughout this project, and it will just subtly just fade that colouring into the centre. Well, not quite the centre, sorry, into the white. Okay, so just a little bit on there. Okay, just a little bit, and just keep on going, just blending it in, and there is your leaf done. Let that one dry. Okay, and then what you need to do, just to make it look a little bit more realistic, is a glaze. Now the glaze that I'm going to be using is from Viva Decor, and it's a clear coat, and it will just help add a little bit of shine. Let me just grab a leaf. So here is one I did earlier, and you can see it's just got that shimmer, but that one hasn't at the moment. Okay, so that's the sort of effect that we're going to be getting. So I'm going to coat this one with the clear lacquer or the varnish, and then we can start to put all of the letters and all of the flourishes onto the plaque or the canvas. Right, I've now placed all of the letters and the flourishes in place on my canvas. Okay, now the one I've stuck is this one here. This one is still loose. The reason being, I want to use a piece of cardboard that I know has a square edge, because this is going to help me stick all of my letters in place perfectly. Okay, so the longest word we can see there is forever. Okay, that's taking up the most width out of all of them. So that's the one we want to focus on first and actually stick that down in place. So like I say, I'm going to take off all of the other words, okay, for the moment, and then we will be able to concentrate on the word forever. So let me just take these off. Right, okay, we have the two words there left. So I'm just going to stick this one on here, or just place this piece of card on. We can just budge up just a little bit there. Okay, right. So we don't want that one to move. And then all we need to do is start to stick the letters in place. So let me just move them along a little bit. Okay, and then we will come back and we will do the word love in a moment. Okay, let's just see. So you don't want it too close to the edge. Okay, I think we can come down just a little bit, like so. Okay, right. And then we're going to be using a PVA type glue for this one, and then we're just going to stick every single letter in place. So we're going to start from this end, so we're going to go with the R. So the sort of glues that you'll need if you're going to be sticking things on is basically a PVA or 3D type glue, like a silicone. Okay, so let's just place all of those down. Now, if you're anything like me, okay, I'm infamous for my typos. Okay, so you may actually want to write down what your verse or your short verse is actually going to be. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and stick all these down, and then we'll come back and we'll do the second word, which is love. Right, so once we've got to that point, we then just need to grab ourselves a ruler and grab ourselves a pen or a pencil. Okay, I just want to measure what is that longest word. Okay, so our longest word there is 11 centimetres. So making sure that this part of the cardboard is at the edge of your canvas or your canvas board. Make sure that's on there, and then just go down there. You can see the width of this particular one, forever, is 11 centimetres. So half of 11 is 5.5. So that is basically the centre of every single letter thereafter. Okay, right. So now we're just going to place that above here. Okay, like so. Again, just keeping it straight. We want to roughly go, let's just play with the letters a little bit. We don't want them too far apart, but we don't want them too close, if that makes sense. Okay, about there. Okay, so we can place that. That is going to be our line. So just make sure. Right, let's see how large or in width, how far the word love actually is. And so we place that out roughly at the moment. So we're talking about 6 centimetres. So the letter L has got to start there at 3, because the centre of 6 centimetres, which is the width of the word love, is actually 3. And then repeat that process going down the page for every single word. And here's the last letter just going in between the two E's there, and then we are done with the lettering. So let's just take away the piece of cardboard, and then we'll be able to see if everything lines up nicely, which it does, using that particular technique that I've just shown you there. You can just adjust any of those bottom letters there, and now we want to just add on the last flourish. Now, because we actually used the other type of clay, which is the soft then strong, this is the air dry polymer clay, so you can see it's still very flexible even though it's actually dried. And like I say, that's why it is really good for things like jewelry. I'm going to use a silicone based glue on here, on the back here, so just a couple of little dabs of that. Okay, and then we're just going to place that on, and then we're just going to put a little bit of weight actually on this flourish, just so it glues nice and flat into position. So let me just very carefully just flip this one over. I'm going for the same sort of alignment as I've done this one up here. So we're about there, they're about level, and we're just going to pop that down just there. Now, obviously, if I wanted, you know, I could have actually brought that further down, but I'm going to want to put some leaves just here. So we obviously don't want the leaves to actually go over any of our words just there. So I'm just going to place some weight on top of that flourish there, and then once that's set, then we're going to come back and we're going to add lots of the roses and the leaves there, just to add that splash of colour to finish off our project. Okay, the last part, like I said before, is just to add the flowers and obviously the leaves. So how I do this, I sort of like just roughly put them how I want them to start with. Okay, now when you actually make these, the bottom of the rose has still got like a sort of like a dome to it. So what I normally tend to do is just to cut those so they're flat. So I just use a large craft knife, okay, like so. So I want that one slightly coming down there, and I literally just cut, let me just move that one there, I literally just cut basically the angle that I want the flower to actually sit at. Okay, and this one is quite a big rose, so there's a lot of cutting involved there. Okay, and now it has a perfectly flat bottom, which now will sit absolutely beautifully onto the canvas. So I'm going to go and position and cut all of these accordingly, and then I'm going to be back, and then we can actually finish the project by sticking the leaves in place as well. So like I say, I'm just going to cut all the backs off all of the roses so they're nice and flat, and just so they sit perfectly within our canvas. Well, I've just finished the project now and glued all the leaves into place, added a little bit of garden string that I plaited earlier on, and that's it. It's all finished and ready to hang. I hope this project has inspired you to have a go with FMM's products, and if you're interested in buying them, please go direct to their website at www.fmmfuncraft.com. I hope you can join me on Hochanda really soon with more fantastic products from FMM Fun Crafts.